Good morning. Approximately 2:14 a.m. this morning, we received a phone alarm for smoke at 4502 Queens Boulevard in a restaurant. Our units arrived in approximately 4 minutes, just under 5 minutes to the location where we found a fire in the restaurant and the adjoining businesses. At this time, we have six businesses affected by the fire, where the fire had extended to, and on Queens Boulevard and down 45th Street. We also have 12 businesses on 46th Street that are connected to this fire building, but we held the fire out of that building, and it just affected the Queens Boulevard structures. We also have a multiple dwelling on the rear of the building on 45th Street, which we are protecting with hose lines, and the fire has not affected that location. We have, during the height of the fire, we had a collapse of the fire building, more than likely in the area of the restaurant or there was a UPS store also. The cause of the collapse, undetermined at this point. We're suspecting a backdraft type of situation, a smoke explosion, which caused the structure to collapse, which exacerbated the fire. We currently have 5 tower ladders and 5 ground-mounted stang nozzles attacking the fire, and I'd like to, and of course we're strictly outside operations at this point. We have 5-alarm fire currently in the works, with 198 plus personnel on the fire and medical branch side. As far as injuries, I'm going to pass the mic over to Chief Booth for an update on the injuries.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We have 12 injuries at this fire so far. We have 7 firefighters that were injured and 5 civilians. Most of the injuries occurred at the height of the collapse that Chief DeVita described. They're all non-life-threatening injuries at this time. As you know, an incident involving cold weather and the significance of fire like this, we always want to be on guard for additional injuries, so we think we're going to hold at 12, but there's always a possibility for a couple more. They're being treated at area hospitals at the moment, the individuals that have been injured.
So that backdraft situation kind of fueled the fire, or is that what you're saying?
That's what Chief DeVita is referring to, yes.
Besides that, what else made this so difficult to fight?
Well, the fire was more than likely, again, the origin, cause, still under investigation, but we are looking into. These fires are inherently, the fire gets up into the space above the ceiling and below the roof, which becomes a difficult fire to attack based on its location. So we have to enter with hose lines, and we have to have our ladder companies open up the ceiling so we have access to the fire. That's a time-consuming event, and in that time period, it sometimes gives the fire a head start on us. And with the amount of fire and heat, and with the right amount of with fuel and oxygen, sometimes you have a smoke explosion, a backdraft, which is basically an instantaneous ignition of smoke and heated gases, and that is more or less an explosion, and that could have caused this roof collapse, building collapse.
How many firefighters were in the building when it collapsed?
We had our first alarm companies operating on the roof, and we're moving in with hand lines into the structure. Our first alarm assignment could be upwards of 60 firefighters, but inside that particular area and above, more than likely at least a dozen firefighters were initially in that initial area. The chiefs on scene were proactive. They saw that this was an advanced fire, and they began to back the troops out from the hand lines and from the roof. So because they took that action, that that more than likely prevented more serious injury to operating forces. Well, again, this building, the date the building was built, we're still looking up the data, but a lot of these buildings are, we call them non-fireproof. There's lumber up in the up in the roof space, so there's a lot of fuel. The age of the building concealed spaces, voids, and this time of night, sometimes, or this time of day, early in the morning, sometimes fires get a little advanced based on the amount of people on the street to notice it and call 911. So it's a combination of age, construction, and just an advanced on arrival.
Were there people in the restaurant when the smoke began, and that's when they?
Undetermined. I would have to find that out. I don't have that for you right now.
We understand one of those civilians had more serious injuries. Can you talk about that?
I'll give it over to you.
He had basically fractures, and they were non-life-threatening in nature. They were stabilized and managed on the scene, and he was removed to an area hospital.